Hello guys, today we have a new episode about our project, the SL300 Gullwing. Let me remind our new subscribers that the donor car we're working with is a 2003 Cell K32 AMG, but we're recreating the exterior to match a 1955 model. An original car like this costs anywhere between $2 to $6 million since it's a collectible model. But in our case, we're focusing on replicating the exterior look, and of course, we'll recreate the interior to match the original as well. Our version has its own advantages. It's based on a much newer car, so you get modern features like air conditioning, an automatic transmission, and a smooth, comfortable ride. Perfect for car shows or just a fun weekend drive. But today, guys, I'm also going to show you that there are even more expensive cars from 1955. One of them is valued at $140 million. For now, let me show you the progress we've made, the updates to the interior, the changes to the exterior, and the new wheels we've installed. Let's start with the front part. You probably remember from the last episode that our bumper was pretty flat. It didn't have these bumper guards. We bought the guards, or whatever they're actually called. Feel free to correct me in the comments. We got them, fitted them, and installed them. In my opinion, a retro car looks better with them, though the bumpers still look pretty cool even without them. We also finished the entire electrical wiring, hooked up the headlights and the turn signals. Let me show you how awesome it looks. Yellow running lights, yellow headlights, halogen bulbs, low beam, high beam, all yellow. It's unusual, but it's reality. We've also aligned all the panel gaps perfectly. The hood now has a clean 4mm gap all around. The doors are at 4mm, and the trunk is also at 4mm. That wasn't easy. Not only does the gap need to be exactly 4mm, but it also has to sit perfectly flat. And as you can see, these are long, flat surfaces. From here to here is over a meter. And now it's completely straight, like a ruler. We also installed the wipers. You'll notice that they sit on the opposite side compared to most cars you see on the road. Regular cars have the wipers resting this way. Ours rest the other way. Why? Because that's how they were positioned on the original 300 SL models. And just like the original, they don't fold down completely. We made sure to replicate that detail exactly. Let me show you how they work. The switches in the cabin are basically factory switches. Our client specifically asked us not to overdo it or install random aftermarket switches. They wanted to keep things as close to original as possible. Now let's turn on the washer. Want to see that? Works perfectly and stops exactly where it should. All the modes function just like they did originally. And the wiper motor itself, along with the entire mechanism, is straight from our donor car. So if anything burns out or breaks, you can just go and buy the necessary parts. And now, guys, we've reached the most exciting and beautiful part, the wheels. We went with modern Michelin tires, not exactly true to the original, but since this is an AMG-based build, we needed proper grip and high-speed stability. The goal is to blast down the highway at over 200 kilometers per hour in this vintage car and leave everyone in shock. We had the rims custom made from forged aluminum. They're lightweight and staggered in width. We discussed the offset with our client, which determines how far the wheels stick out. On the original, the front wheels sit awkwardly deep inside the arches, and we agreed that we didn't want that. Now they sit flush with the body, and in my opinion, they look amazing. Let me know what you think in the comments. I'll show you some close-up shots from different angles so you can judge for yourself. The design is an exact match to the original. The only difference is the size. The originals were 15-inch, but we went with 17-inch rims because of the massive brake calipers we have. We didn't want to modify the brakes, especially since passing inspections in Europe is tough, and in Ukraine, changing brakes or modifying the steering is also restricted. So we kept it stock. The wheels fit perfectly with the right offset, and the tire size is spot on. Nothing rubs. We've already tested it. The car will sit a bit lower once it's fully assembled, both front and rear. The rims have a polished lip, a polished cap, and a polished emblem. And the center is silver, exactly like the original car that cost $2 to $6 million. And by the way, the center cap sticks out just like on the original. If you look at it from the side, you'll notice those two little bumps on each side. I'll show you all the details in a moment. Let's keep going with the upgrades we've made to this car. In the last video, I already showed you the car with this chrome molding, but it wasn't positioned quite right. Interestingly, none of you pointed out that the molding was a bit off or that the side skirt looked too narrow. So we adjusted it, raised it slightly, and gave it a subtle tilt. You can see that at the rear, it angles upward, exactly like it does on the original. Now that we've repositioned it, the side profile of the car looks exactly how it should. Our doors. In the last episode, I showed you that they were completely cut apart because we had to adjust the frames and fit the handle properly. We had to do a lot of work to get them right. Now they've been treated with liquid filler, the gaps have been aligned, and everything looks pretty solid. We also made some adjustments to the rear wheel arch. If you look closely, and I have a pretty sharp eye for these things, you'd notice that it didn't quite match the original shape. So we refined it, trimmed a bit here and there. The changes are subtle, but I wanted it to look exactly the way it does now. The rear wheel is 9 inches wide with 235 tires. It sits nicely, almost flush with the body. Although flush isn't exactly the right word since the body itself is rounded when viewed from above, narrower at the rear and a bit wider here. And the front follows the same pattern. To put it simply, the wheels look awesome, and I'm really happy with how they turned out. We made some small changes to the rear end as well. We installed these bumper guards at the back, exactly like the ones on the front bumper. Let me know in the comments what you think. Do you prefer it with the guards or the clean, smooth bumper like I showed you in the last episode? I'm really curious about your opinion. Personally, they look a bit oversized to me, but for a vintage car, I think they work pretty well. We also ordered and installed a license plate light. That's a must-have these days since it's pretty much impossible to drive without one. We fitted LED lights for the plate, so it's well lit now, and we added 2 small but nice touches, reflectors under the bumper. Not all Mercedes models have them, but most do. You can see them on both sides. I'll show you some close-up shots. It's a small detail, but it looks pretty cool. All right, guys, it's not the most comfortable spot, but I want to show you what we've done with the interior. You can see that all the gauges are styled to match the original. We bought them, but honestly, the quality isn't great. We'll probably have to redo the internals. Maybe swap in parts from the factory cluster. Because right now, you can't even see the mileage. And if a check engine light comes on, you wouldn't know about it. That's not ideal. We're currently discussing with the client what direction we should take with the gauges and what kind of setup he wants. The turn signal lever is styled in a retro look, but the internal mechanism is factory. That was a key request from our client. All the original functions are there. Turn signals, low and high beams, and the wipers. We've also wired the washer button here. Press it, and you see the spray working perfectly. The first click is for intermittent wiper mode. The second is for continuous wiping. And the third is for high-speed mode. The internal mechanism is fully factory, but the outer styling is retro. The air vents and reflectors are also faithful to the original. The vent flaps even move, but they still need to be sent off for chrome plating. That's planned for a bit later. This trim piece is identical to the original, and so is the molding right here. The steering wheel is an exact match to the original. We're just waiting on the horn button to finish it off. We've also installed the rear view mirror. This was exactly how it was done back in 1955. And of course, there's an ashtray. It'll have a wood cover wrapped in leather to match the top section of the dashboard. This is the part that will be painted, and we'll add a chrome 300SL badge right here. Below that, there are 2 functional air vents and a working cigarette lighter. We'll also install a few more buttons and indicator lights here. Here, guys, we have grills for the speakers. In the rear part, we are making molds to cover the strut mounts, and these parts will be removable because accessing the shock absorber would be difficult if we don't make these panels detachable. All of this, the entire body, all these parts, the dashboard and instrument panels, can already be purchased on our website. Everything is available with prices and descriptions in English and Russian languages. Guys, the seats are made to match the original. They move forward and backward, just like in a regular car. We've also relocated the handbrake to match the original design. It was originally positioned in the center, but in the 1955 SL300, it's on the left side. So we moved it to the correct spot and it will function just like the original. A huge amount of work has been done. You know, it's our first project. Some parts are missing, some things aren't available. You don't know where to buy something or how to connect it, and so on. It's like the saying goes, the first pancake is lumpy, but the second and third cars will be built much faster following a refined process. The spare tire will be placed in the trunk, just like in any modern car. Because if you're on the road, get a flat tire, and have nothing to replace it, that's a problem. Everything will be here in the trunk. There are compartments for a jack, a wheel brace, so you can travel and drive with peace of mind. But now, guys, let me briefly tell you about the car that's worth $140 million. Let's add a little segment about that. Guys, this is a race car from back in the day, the Mercedes 300 SLR. In reality, only a handful of them were ever produced worldwide, and now they sell at auctions for $140 million. That's just insane money. To be honest, in my opinion, it's kind of a rough little machine. There are no comforts whatsoever. On the left side, you have the clutch pedal, on the right, the brake and gas, and between your legs, the gear shifter. There are no windows, everything is super Spartan, but that's not the main thing. The most important part is right behind me. We already have the white body kit lying here. Let's take a look at it. But as you've probably guessed, guys, this body kit isn't just lying here for no reason. In the near future, this will be a new project, but it's still too early to talk about it. For now, we're just collecting and buying parts because finding everything for this car is already difficult, and for this one, it's nearly impossible. So far, we've only found the grille, maybe a steering wheel. Some things are still being figured out. More information on this project will come later. I'm really curious to hear your opinion. What car would you want for yourself? Which one do you think looks better? Let me know in the comments. Here we have the Mercedes 300 SL, and here, the Mercedes 300 SLR. Both are from 1955, but the original 300 SL costs around $2 to $6 million, while this one goes for $140 million. But honestly, even if you had the money, you wouldn't be able to buy a car like this anywhere. And with that, guys, I'm wrapping up this video. If you want to build a car like this yourself, we have body kits for sale, including wheels, bumpers, grills, headlights, and tons of interior parts. I'm leaving a link to our website in the description. It's available in English and Russian, with all the details, photos, and videos. And not just for these Mercedes, we also have G-Wagon 6x6, 4x4 pickups, and all kinds of body kits for sale. Check out our website. That's it for now. Drop a comment and let me know which of these two cars is cooler.